That's good.
Is the video playing? Or
Yeah, recording.
Okay. Welcome to the Side Action, episode 97, episode 28 of season 3. I'm Jim Weglars, aka Wegs. You can follow me at Wegschool at Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm Steve Roberts, aka Action. You can follow me on Twitter at 31sroberts.
Follow the podcast at Side Action Pod on Twitter and on YouTube. Well, actually, we are at the Rhumbar at the Mirage Hotel in lovely Las Vegas.
Live from the Rhumbar. That's right.
We've got our drinks. I've got my mojito. What you got there?
Some sort of cocktail with tequila in it. I think it's a tequila mule.
Tequila mule, so we are feeling it. We've got some Instagrammers over here taking pictures in the background.
Right here next to the Instagram wall. And we're both down a little bit on the weekend, for those of you who might be wondering.
Yes.
That's all right. We still have a couple more days to make that up.
Yeah, we crapped out pretty hard last night at the craps table over at Harrah's, but today we made a little comeback at the blackjack table that was at Planet Hollywood. So
yeah,
we got to thank Maggie, the dealer over there. She helped us out.
Maggie was great. So was May before that. We can't leave her out of this.
And Ariel, the guy who, you know, what did I split 2 times on the same hand and won, but they had to send him packing to, you know, wherever, Siberia, because he let me win. So.
But what if you take your picture?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Sure. We are.
No, it's okay. We can stop.
It's okay.
Do you want to? Let's just pause.
We can pause.
We can pause.
I think. Okay, back live here. We had a little interruption for an Instagram photo.
We've been taping the whole time on the audio. That's
I can
great.
cut out the audio. That's
so yeah, we just took some pictures for people since apparently we're photographers as well in Vegas.
Do it all. We do it all.
This is awesome. So hey, it's the first weekend of the NCAA basketball tournament, which officially starts today. It's actually underway right now. The first 4, but we are going to talk mainly about the first round of games, which starts tomorrow, Friday, the 19th, as well as the 20th on Saturday.
Yeah, actually, we're in the middle of the first game of the first 4 right now. Mount St. Mary's is up 10 at halftime. So Thursday live here. There's a couple of more playing games tonight, and then the first round really starts in earnest tomorrow, Friday.
And Action already got, he already has Mount St. Mary's +2, so he's doing pretty well. We've got some bets on the games already. We both like Drake, but by the time you guys listen, that game will be over. So well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the quarantine, and we've got, you know, basically there's a strict quarantine process that these teams had to follow for 7 days prior to, I guess, for tomorrow. It had to be 48 hours quarantine when their location, then they could travel to Indy and still had to have negative COVID tests before playing, such as Virginia.
Yeah, and you know, I heard on Sunday night from, I think it was one of the Rutgers, or maybe it was Garza, who had an interview and said that they had to quarantine in their hotel rooms for 48 hours prior to, or as soon as they arrived.
Right.
So I wondered to myself, no stretching or ability to work out presumably could depress scoring a little bit in the first couple of games here.
Yeah, I think those first halves might be a nice under situation, I would say, but we'll have to check it out. I mentioned Virginia. Virginia's not going to show up until tomorrow night, and they play Saturday night. They have to do a 12-hour, very compressed quarantine, and they still may fall out. And then there's 4 teams that are on standby for those teams, and those teams are like Louisville, Colorado State, who didn't make it, my alma mater, Ole Miss, and who's the other one? St. Louis?
Yeah, Louisville. I think St. Louis is on there too. Did you mention Louisville? Yeah.
And then we also had some issues with Kansas. Kansas was a team that their star center missed the Big 12 championship tournament, but they had another guy miss it. But McCormick, who's the center, he's going to play, you said. He's going to suit up and be on the bench.
That's right, yeah. I saw just yesterday it was announced by Kansas that David McCormick, their star center, really their number 1 player, will travel to Indianapolis today, Thursday, and is going to be ready and in uniform tomorrow on Friday.
Right, so that may affect the handicap and also the spread. So maybe you got the early line when they were maybe a little bit depressed before he's going to play or be on the bench. So other stuff we like to talk about, which we saw in the Big Ten Championship, the tournament, the Lucas Oil Stadium, and those big stadiums, those teams shoot really poorly. So you were cashing in on the under last week in the Big Ten Championship tournament.
Yeah, the quarterfinals round actually came up a little bit and bit me go over, but we had a couple more unders on Saturday, and then obviously the championship game on Sunday went way over ultimately.
Right.
But I think it's another angle I'm going to look for this week. Those games that are being played at Lucas Oil Stadium, definitely in the first round, I would expect are going to be lower scoring. I already like the under in the Purdue and North Texas game, first half and full game, and there's a few others that I'm eyeballing as well.
Right, I definitely would target those teams like Kansas and Virginia, first half, of course, too, because they were on pauses. So we'll see about their scoring to be depressed.
True, very true.
Well, let's jump into the action index as we enter this first weekend of the tournament. I've got it here up for you. You got it here. So is there anything exciting? It looks like Illinois is up to number 2. I think they weren't at number 2 last week, right?
Yeah, that's right. After winning the Big Ten championship, Illinois metrics have improved a little bit, and it's ironic that the first 4 teams here are also the number 1 seeds: Gonzaga, Illinois, Baylor, and Michigan, followed by, coincidentally, the number 2 seeds: Houston, Iowa, Alabama, and Ohio State. So it seems that the action index is a leading indicator for seeding in the tournament.
It is different than KenPom. I mean, the top 4 were still number 1 seeds, but you did see a little bit of a difference. I guess Houston, you got Houston higher than Iowa. Obviously, the top 8 teams are still in KenPom the same way, but I'm noticing in North Carolina at number 11, this is an 8 seed team. You're looking that they're going to be pretty dangerous in this tournament.
Yeah, North Carolina's numbers have been really improving lately, and it mostly has to do with their incredibly high rebounding adjustment. You see here, Wegs, I've got a 3-point adjustment on North Carolina's spread rating just from rebounding, which is head and shoulders above every other team in this field. Illinois and Houston are kind of not neck and neck, but just behind them with 2 and 2.38, respectively.
Yeah, that team just throws it up on the glass. We talked about that with Polo last week. I do like them a lot. They are dangerous. They're an 8 seed. If they win against Wisconsin, then they play Baylor, right?
That's right. Yeah, Baylor would be the opponent in the second round.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the bracket in too much detail, but last week it wasn't set. But if you look at that, generally speaking, Baylor has a really tough road. They got to beat North Carolina. They've got obviously a really good Yep, Oilers number 4. So that for them to just get to the Elite 8, they've got a tough road. We thought that Gonzaga had a really easy path, though.
It's true.
Obviously, since Kansas may be full strength or close to full strength, maybe they're not so bad at 3 in that region. And then you have Virginia at 4. Who knows if they're even going to play? And then Iowa at the bottom of that bracket. I just think that Gonzaga is going to be a lock for Final Four. But you like the bet where they're not going to make the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, we talked an awful lot about this last week with Cola as well. In spite of the bracket and the seeding laying out where here's Gonzaga has an easy path, I'm still going to be looking to fade them in this tournament. I obviously have been playing against them in a lot of my pools and in my Calcutta, but I'm also going to look to play them against in some money lines and spreads as well.
Right. I know you're not on board with me, but they're in your index. Number 12, USC is on there. I do like them to push pretty deep in this tournament. They have that NBA talent in Mobley. We'll see, obviously, how that plays out, if they're going to make it that far. They're a 6 seed, but I agree that you're showing them 12. I think they're very underseeded in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. A 6 seed at 12, obviously, would think that would correlate to a 3 seed. But I personally think that Drake is going to be a bad matchup for them, Wegs.
Okay.
Drake is a team that likes to defend, and with Sheckman Hemphill back in the lineup, I expect that will be a much closer game than odds makers suggest.
Okay. Well, that's the overall tournament. Let's talk about some games specifically that we're going to look at this weekend. At least I've identified some. First of all, we've got Ohio State playing Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts can shoot the ball. They've got 2 guys who can score over 20 points a game. We know Ohio State can score the ball. We've seen that many times. So I was thinking this is more of an overplay at 157.5. I don't know where you see that now. But can you get on board with me on an over in that game?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I love the over in this game as well. Currently lost the odds screen here, but I think 157.5 is about right from last I looked. So I like that. I also like Oral Roberts in this game, catching the 17.
Yep.
We've talked an awful lot this year about how Ohio State's defense is poor, and this Oral Roberts team can really score.
They can score.
So I like him with the 17, and I think that an over and Oral Roberts parlay could be somewhat correlated as well.
Okay, I like it. I like what you're doing. Another game I like is Oregon State against Tennessee. Oregon State's the 12 seed, Tennessee's the 5. Oregon State ran the table in the Pac-12, had no business making the tournament, but somehow played great against good teams, beating Oregon and USC at the end. They're getting 8 points in this game. Tennessee has struggled down the stretch. I might even dabble in the money line at plus 310. What do you think about that?
I have seen a lot of people playing Oregon State this week, and I got to be honest, it's not one that I can get behind. I think that their run through the Pac-12 tournament was a little bit of an aberration.
Right.
Not really quite adding up to what this team actually is. And Tennessee is a tough team. Certainly looks like they're going to be without the center, John Fulkerson, this week after the big blow to the face in the SEC tournament. But I'm personally going to be picking Tennessee to advance. The spread bet, 8.5 looks like in some spots was a big number. So
yeah, big number.
I do expect this to be a lower scoring matchup as well. So you get some value there.
Another game I picked was Rutgers against Clemson. Now, I think this game's down to almost a pick or maybe a 1-point favorite for Rutgers. So I was thinking as the 10 seed, they were going to get points, but it seems like it's flipped over. I do think the Scarlet Knights have survived Big Ten Big Ten play, and they've made the tournament for the first time in forever.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they're going to be really excited about this game, where Clemson kind of struggled down the stretch. Would you still get on board if they're favored by a point or so?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've bet Rutgers -1 myself, and it looks like there's still some ones that are out here on the board. Depending on where you look, you can shop around. But this team is definitely on a mission after making the tournament and really not getting their chance last season. And Coach Steve Peichel is going to have them prepared for a big win over Clemson.
Well, they also have, Ron Harper Jr., he's an NBA-style player, so I think they've just been – Clemson's known for their defense, but Rutgers has played great defenses all year in the Big Ten, so I'd like to see that. What about Villanova? We've talked about them in the past. Colin Gillespie's out for the year. Their point guard is really the leader of that team. They're playing Winthrop, the 12 seed. Right now I'm showing it as a 6.5-point dog for Winthrop. I'd be on the dog here, maybe even the money line at plus 240. I'm not sure what you feel about that, actually.
I'm on board with this pick. I've bet myself personally plus 6.5 on open. It looks like still available at some shops here in Nevada and out east as well. And I also bet the money line. I've got Winthrop plus 220 in this game. I think that without Gillespie, the Wildcats are really going to be having a hard time getting into their offense. And a team like Winthrop can really score the ball. You're going to see them really open it up and shoot a lot of three-pointers, which is going to be tough for that Villanova defense.
Right.
So I like this game. I texted my family earlier today. In some pools, I am picking Villanova, which I believe is going to be more of a contrarian play.
Sure.
So the pool aspects, I'm likely going to be on Villanova, but for my bankroll here, I've got Winthrop. As confusing as that is.
Well, especially with the points, right? I mean, money line, of course, you want to get it to hit. A few more that I like. I don't know about you, but
should we? I have a couple more on Friday before we switch to the Saturday games.
Sure.
I mentioned earlier the Purdue and North Texas game under the total. It's 127 currently. I think this is going to be a rock fight. North Texas is a team that plays extremely slow pace, and Purdue will be happy to play that style as well.
And they played great defense down the stretch.
Yep.
And they lost in overtime at the buzzer basically against Ohio State, so they played really well.
Another game slated for Lucas Oil tomorrow is the number 1 seed Baylor playing against Hartford. And Baylor's laying a huge number, 25.5, which is not something I'm interested in, but I am going to be betting this one under as well. I've got 141 in my back pocket, and it looks like there's still 140 and a half still available out there. And I think this is another game that Baylor blows them out, slows down at the end, and will stay under that total.
And that's a Lucas Oil game?
Yes.
So again, that's kind of that same handicap we talked before. It's going to be hard to shoot in that big arena, which, is that the one where they're splitting in half?
Correct.
So they're having like a curtain. They're going to have 2 different courts for the main, it's a football stadium. So, but there's a lot of depth perception issues for shooting, so that's the kind of handicap. Like it.
What do you think about Utah State versus Texas Tech?
Tough one. When I first saw that draw, I thought that was really bad for Texas Tech. Utah State has been playing great down the stretch. They knocked off my alma mater in Eastern Colorado State in the Mountain West semis. This team plays great defense, and they have been playing kind of high-flying offenses, and Texas Tech is not that.
Yeah.
So I like it as an under game. First of all, I don't know what that total is, but what is the handicap? What's the
131.5 there on the total.
Okay.
I'm looking at Utah State here with the points. They're catching 4.5 in a lot of spots, and I think the handicap here is the big man, Amos Keita, is going to be able to clog the middle and really cut down on that Texas Tech drive and kick game. So I'm going to be on Utah State. I like them on the money line as well, and presumably in plenty of brackets.
Nice. Is that it for Friday?
No.
We're getting every game in there, America.
Colgate and Arkansas. I'm sure you saw my tweet on Sunday over at any number as soon as that was announced, and I sure as heck did go over at both 156.5 and 157.5. This game is going to be high flying, and it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I think Colgate scored 100 points in the last game or something.
Yeah.
This team can fill it up. They've only played 4 opponents, but I don't mind going if you're going to go obviously with the spread on this one, because I think Colgate's going to be a tougher team. We talked about it's a little bit of an anomaly with the net rankings because they're really high in the top 10, the top 8 or 9. But in Arkansas, I really like to go deep in the tournament if they get past Colgate. I think Colgate could beat them.
Yeah, agreed.
But again, you're looking at a game in the 80s or even 90s for this one.
Definitely. One more for us on the under. Houston.
Houston
is a team that I like a lot. We talked about their rebounding advantage earlier on in the show here, and they're facing off against the Horizon League qualifier, Cleveland State, and I think this is a complete mismatch for the Vikings. They are going to get just destroyed on the glass, and they are very terrible from the free throw line. Everything just adds up to a monster blowout for Houston in this one.
Wow.
I laid 19.5.
He laid the 19.5, America. Action likes to take the underdog. This is a rarity. He's going to lay that many points. So I do think Houston's a great team. What is Cleveland State known for? What are they good at?
Well, they have some three-point shooters. Okay. There's no doubt about that. But Houston defense is top 10 in locking down the three-point line, and I think that's really the only place that Cleveland State could make any sort of points in this game. A decided advantage, which is mitigated by the defense.
Gotcha. More Friday action?
I think we just need to touch on the Georgia Tech and Loyola, Illinois.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Before we move on to Saturday. Rough news for the Yellow Jackets yesterday. That ACC Player of the Year, Moses Wright, has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and tested positive.
Yeah.
And just really unfortunate for Georgia Tech. And on the plane flight over here yesterday, I saw the line go from 3 to 6, and that was very good line.
Yeah, so Loyola, they're playing in Illinois' bracket. They're the 8th seed against the 9 ACC tournament champion, Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. It's a bummer for them. Josh Pastner had his team playing really well. 6 points, wow. I mean, that's a big move, but you do think he's worth those 3 points.
I do, yeah. Cameron Crutwig was going to have a big game regardless, but without Moses Wright in the middle, it's just going to be feast for Cameron Crutwig.
Right.
Which is on my team in the player pool, so it's all good.
Yeah, he just happens to have him on his player pool too. Well, let's go to Saturday. That's pretty much all the games, I think.
We missed some, but that's all right. I'm ready for Saturday.
So Saturday, I like the first game. I like the Bonnies against LSU. St. Bonaventure is listed. I have them as a 1.5 point dog in this game, and LSU can score the ball. There's no question, but they don't play any defense. But more importantly, the Bonnies have my guy Osun Yui, who is like one of the best shot blockers in this country. And this team has played really well. They had a COVID clause, came out of it, played great in the A-10, won it outright. And I think that they're just going to be a force to be reckoned with. I actually think they're going to push, Michigan in the second round. But I like them in 1.5. Obviously, I wouldn't necessarily go money line. It's a smaller one there. I'll take the points. What do you think about the Bonnies?
Yeah, I love this pick. I took the money line, actually, plus 106. I think St. Bonaventure is going to win this game. And my handicap really comes down to the porous LSU defense. They have just been there. We talked about it last week. I'm going to be betting against LSU regardless of opponent. And here we go. Here it is.
Hey, thank you. Anyway, the next game, I know you're not on board with me, is Iona is playing against Alabama. This is at 3 o'clock on Saturday. I'm mainly highlighting this because Rick Pitino has now taken his 15th team to the NCAA tournament. That's pretty incredible. Nobody's ever done that before. This Iona team was on 2 COVID pauses this year, so they really struggled in the metrics. In fact, I think they're in like the 180s in Ken Palm, so they're way down there. But I kind of feel like they're gonna play a good game. I don't know. They're 17-point dogs. Alabama's a great team, but you're not on board with it though.
No, I really wanted to bet on Rick Pitino and this Iona team. I told you last week, but this is a really bad matchup for them. They are in the 200s in their offensive turnover percentage,
right,
which is not a good recipe for playing against Alabama. Alabama, as you know, has a really great defense, and they like to turn their opponents over. So I think that there's going to be a significant advantage in terms of number of possessions for Alabama in this game, and it's going to be too much to overcome.
Okay. So what about this upset? We talked about Virginia. They're arriving tomorrow. We don't even know officially they're going to play until maybe like, I don't know, 8 in the morning on Saturday morning. They're playing against Ohio. Ohio is a very good basketball player on their team, and I don't know his name. His name's
Jason Preston.
And I don't know. You're looking at the line at 3.5 or 4. That seems a little low to me, but the 13 seed Ohio over Virginia in the money line may be in play for me too. But wondering what you were thinking about that.
Yeah, actually, open 10.5 in a lot of places, and looking at the odds board now, it's actually 7.
Okay, I like that.
Appears to be trending back towards 7.5 at this point. So I think I agree with you. We talked about this a lot in the last couple of days, that Ohio is the pick, and from every single media report and odds picker, Twitter gambler in the world is on Ohio. So I think we could all line up for that one.
One of the things I guess I listed was I definitely would be on the first half cover, which is 3.5. That's my mistake. So it's 3.5 on the first half, thinking that Virginia's going to come out sluggish because they haven't practiced in 8 days. They're going to have a walkthrough in the morning. How do you expect them to come out shooting guns a-blazing against this pretty good Ohio team?
I love that pick. That's a great call. Virginia certainly may win the game, but they're going to start slow. I have a very strong opinion of that.
The last game I have on the card, which I know you may not be on board with me because I think you like UCLA in this first 4 game today, is Michigan State. Michigan State's the 11 seed. I see them beating UCLA. They're a small favorite, a 2-point favorite right now for tonight's game. But they're going to play BYU, who's the 6th seed. I do think BYU's had a great season. 6 may be an appropriate seed, but I don't like this matchup for them. I like Aaron Henry and Sparty in here to kind of make some noise and get into the, at least the round of 32 here. But you differ.
Yeah, I'm a little troubled by this one. I feel that some of the move towards Michigan State is due to Tom Izzo and not really the basketball team. So
it is.
I'm kind of waiting here to see what happens with the line, but I may be looking to play a contrarian pick on UCLA. They lost Chris Smith, their star player, earlier in the year, but despite that, they've had a strong season in the Pac-12, and Johnny Juzang is the scorer now, and I'm just a little bit concerned that Michigan State's defense won't be able to stop them.
Okay. Could be. So what are Action's highlight picks on Saturday? I know he's got the rest of the card. You like UCSB?
I do. I like Santa Barbara a lot in this game against Creighton. This is the 5-12 matchup in the bracket on this side. And this UCSB team has a star point guard, Jordan McLaughlin, and they have a very, very strong interior presence, which I think is something that can trouble Creighton a little bit in this matchup. Creighton historically is not really an inside team, and I think that UCSB is ripe for taking the points, 7.5, and the upset as well, plus 220. I've actually parlayed this money line with the Ohio money line. I expect they'll meet in the second round.
Oh, I like that. 12-13 matchup. Well, I will say that Action loves his Big West team, so we know he's got him. And the Gauchos this team has been to the dance frequently, so it's not like it's the first time in a million years. So I don't mind the pick. I like it a lot. You like this other one, this Abilene Christian one?
I do, yeah. Abilene Christian is kind of my dark horse in this region. I think this is it the Midwest I get the names all confused, but the Michigan region.
They're in the East.
East, thank you. I expect to see some carnage.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
I think that Abilene Christian is very live in this game against Texas. They have the #1 rated defense in turnover percentage.
Okay.
And further, Texas is very poor from the free throw line. So while, as you might expect, Abilene Christian fouls a lot and they send their opponents to the free throw line, Texas is not going to be able to take advantage of that. And I think this is going to be a really close game down the stretch. I like Abilene +9. I'm also going to sprinkle some on the money line in this one as well.
One thing we didn't mention earlier is that Michigan had a very key injury. They are a #1 seed, but they're missing Isaiah Livers, who is out for the tournament. So that's why they're kind of looking like it's a wide open region in the East. So what other ones do you like in this region?
Probably my favorite bet on Saturday on the entire card is Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
-2. Looks like 3s now mostly across the board, but I still like it at this number. Connecticut is a team that plays fantastic defense, and Maryland is pretty much a jump shooting team. So I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. Add in the fact that James Bouknight is back, and they are just on a tear with him in the lineup. I think that Connecticut is ripe for a run in this region. I like them to beat Alabama as well, looking ahead. And I think they're a dark horse for the Final Four.
Wow, Final Four. Well, that would be a big pick. They're a 7 seed. They obviously have Maryland. I mean, I'm with you. I did pick this in my bracket. I picked them to beat Alabama as well, so I'm with you. I'm not sure I had to take it quite that far, but Bouknight's a hell of a player. They're playing great. They're the best team in the Big East, even though the Big East at Georgetown run the table. We forgot to mention those guys. Those guys ran the table as well and made the tournament. So any other ones that you got? And you've got a big list this week.
I do, yeah. I've put a lot of work in, Wegs.
That's good. Why did you do that?
I also have Georgetown on here.
You do? Okay.
This is another matchup in my brackets. I'm going to be picking Colorado, pretty much.
Yep.
Little inside information for those of you who are in Wegs Pool.
In the Wegs Pool, yep.
But I think that Georgetown can keep this game closer than the spread indicates.
Right.
It looks like there's been a little bit of movement on Colorado in the last couple hours, though, up to 6.5.
Okay.
I still think that Georgetown is a play here on the spread. This will be a lower scoring game, and I think that's a little bit of value.
Yeah, it's tough. I didn't get to watch Georgetown this year, and I didn't really watch much of the Big East tournament. I thought we kind of made the joke last week when, Patrick Ewing wasn't allowed, to get through security at the Madison Square Garden. That was kind of strange, but after a couple games and winning the Big East title, now I guess they know who he is again in Madison Square Garden. But Colorado's a good basketball team. They've been good all year. They were the ones who lost to Oregon State in the title, not USC.
Right. Yeah.
But, it's a tough one. I'm probably going to stay away from that one, but I understand the perspective there. Again, I would pick Colorado in the bracket, but I know Action likes he likes to take some chances.
Yeah. Another one I think that in keeping up in practice with the Virginia slow start, Kansas also with the COVID problems, maybe an opponent that you could look to fade in the first half with Eastern Washington. I'm guessing it'll be a 5.5 or 6 points
first half.
in the first half.
Yeah.
And this is an Eastern Washington team that likes to bomb from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like a 6 here in the first half. I like them plus the points in that first half.
I like that too. I think Kansas is going to be slow as well. They have gotten to practice on West Virginia.
True.
Although McCormick is not, as we discussed. So that's a good defensive team if they'll so fast, but they faced a team that Baylor can score the ball.
Right.
But this is a team that is going to be jacking shots, kind of an old school, run and gun type style from Eastern Washington. So I like that pick.
I think that I could probably cap it there.
All right, look at this. We finally got through the whole list. I think that's about 27 plays out of the 32 games. So you guys have plenty of information. Just to recap what we're doing here, we're obviously in Vegas. We only got 3 of us. We're the 3 best friends that everybody has had. We're the Wolf Pack. Artemis Prime is here wandering the streets right now, making friends with the...
There he is. Oh, there he is.
I thought he was bringing those ladies who want to take the pictures with the plumes. I think the girls that had the cop uniforms with the fishnets.
There's a lot of fishnet stockings on the strip here today.
But it's beautiful out here. We're going to be at Stay and Swim tomorrow. We'll definitely take some pictures for Instagram and Twitter. We'll put it out there. We're going to be there from 12 to 5. That's Pacific time to check out the first round games on Friday. We're really excited. You've been there. I haven't been there.
Correct. Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of energy here in Vegas. There's a lot of people around. It's obviously still COVID protocols, but besides the blackjack tables, which are kind of not very prevalent, everything seems kind of normal.
Yeah, we've been super disappointed so far with the number of table games that are open in every casino that we've been to. It seems like a lot of these places are understaffed for the crowd that was expected this weekend.
Yeah, I think that it seems to me that they have lower staff numbers, even though there's a huge amount of people here. And more importantly, those minimums on the tables are going up.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get us. We did fall into the craps trap last night, but we came back and did Planet Hollywood. I hope we'll hit some more. Are we going to go to Circa tonight?
I think so. I think we may head to Circa and check out some of the table games and the sports book for these playing games later.
Absolutely. So follow me at Wegs on Twitter and on Instagram. Follow us at Side Action Pod on Twitter and on YouTube.
And follow me on Twitter at 31sroberts.
All right. Well, good luck in this first round and the rest of the tournament. We'll check in next week and, hopefully we'll win some more money, actually.
That's right. We're going to hit the tables. See y'all later. Peace out.